Hi, thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to do a book review of a book I just finished. It's called The Fourth Turning is Here. This book is written by Neil Howe. If you're new to the idea of the turnings, then you should know there's a previous book called The Fourth Turning, which is written by Neil Howe and his partner William Strauss. It lays out the idea of the seasons of history called turnings. These turnings are a macro view of how human society works every 100 years. So each turning is approximately 20 to 25 years. So there's 4 turnings, and they're usually between 80 and 100 years for the whole 4 turnings to unfold. Now this lifetime period, 80 to 100 years, is called a saeculum. So the 4 turnings are, the first turning is the high, the second turning is the awakening, the third turning is the unraveling, the fourth turning is the crisis. We are in the crisis turning. The series that Strauss and Howe put together is very well documented all through history, going back to Ibn Khaldun in the 1300s. Different writers throughout history have described this phenomenon, and Strauss and Howe put it all together, and they call it the fourth turning. The other authors describe it in different ways according to how they approach history. To put it all together, the way that Howe has done it, it's really amazing. The way the accomplishment and the amount of knowledge that's put away in this book. So like if anybody tells you that I just read that book, yeah, it was good. Like, it's a big book. It's a big deal to read this book, to understand it, to get through it. It's like a college course, and you should probably read 1 chapter a week in order to fully grasp what's going on. There's a lot of references to historical events. If you watch my channel, I think I'm more knowledgeable than the average person on history. And I got most of the references. But if you're not knowledgeable on history, man, you're going to have a tough time on this one, because there are many references to events and peoples and movements of people. So I'm just going to do an overview, because I could go deep. This guy goes deep. There's plenty of detail here. This book is like a Gothic cathedral. It's gigantic. All the information with super fine detail all along the way. Really, wait, scratch that Gothic cathedral. This book is like a rocket. It's like built like a rocket with all kinds of tubes and wires and chips and fuel, and that's all the research and source material that went into creating the theory. And then this thing just takes off and it goes into orbit, and then it releases its payload, which is this idea of the turnings. And that's the satellite that revolves around the Earth. It's a major thing. It's a major concept. The proof and the exhaustive research that went into this is astounding. And when I try to think of ways to refute what he's saying, I can't think of anything. I cannot think of one thing that he missed. I can't think of anything to refute. I can't think of anything to object to. It's all just amazing. So the archetypes are another aspect of this system that increase the level of complexity. So the archetypes are the people who exist, who are attached to each turning. So the archetypes correspond to each turning, and thus the archetypes have to do with the generations. And the archetypes are the hero, the artist, the prophet, and the nomad. And they correspond with our generations. The GI generation is the hero. The artist is the silent generation. The prophet is the boomer generation. And the nomad is the Gen X generation. And then it starts over. And the millennials are a hero generation. He goes through all these generations, and each time there's a new turning, these archetypes advance to the next level of their adulthood. You know, they start as children, and then they go to like age 25, and then they're young adults for 25 years, then they're elder adults, and then they're senior adults. So he goes through all the archetypes, he goes through all the archetypes in each turning, he goes through all the turnings, and it's very thoroughly done. I'm gonna assume that most people pay attention to politics and the news, and if you are interested in all these things, this book is going to kind of be a comfort. It's going to help you understand what's going on. Now, the trepidatious part of this is that we're in the fourth turning. As far as the seasons go, this is winter. This is the most calamitous turning. So we're going to see some, and we're not done with it. We've got at least 7 more years till the end of the fourth turning, and it usually culminates in a climactic war. So while this is comforting to know that you're going to know what's going on, it's going to cause anxiety because we don't really know what's going to happen. And like the dark days of winter, when you think you're never going to see another flower, we're going to get through this season. We're going to get through this fourth turning. But it's a tumultuous, calamitous time. So I definitely recommend this book. As far as I'm concerned, there's a time before you knew about the four turnings, and there's a time after you know it. It changes the way that I view society and culture. It's a wide angle view. You're going to benefit by reading this book. So thanks for watching.